prey.
Silent reflection. Oh, the jungle drums indicate that it's time for Journals Out Loud. I am your lovely and captivating host, Louise Palanker, here with a panel of wise and wonderful teenagers. We are Journals Out Loud.
I've been out there wandering.
Catchy, right? So if you've been out there wandering and in here wondering, you can give us a call at 888-531-7171. We are live right now on youtube.com/journalsnetwork. If you have a question, you can write us on Instagram. Maybe we'll look at our Instagram feed. That could happen. Anything that you want to know about growing up and becoming a person, we have the answers. We've got kids tonight who are doing their audition callbacks. These are the most excellent kids. We met them in Hollywood. They're all professional actory people. Go ahead and go around the room and introduce yourselves.
Hey, I'm Amber. I'm Alexis.
No, normal Josh.
And I am Calvin.
Yay. And Julie's here too.
I'm here too.
You're
Per
like,
usual.
and the rest on Gilligan. So let's dive into questions. Julie, would you like to read the first one?
Sure. Okay. I never know how to be around boys. A lot of my friends have tons of guy friends and can make up conversation about anything with them. I feel like boys won't like me because I don't get involved in jokes and stuff. I want to be friends with boys, but they always go for pretty popular, outgoing girls. How can I gain a friendship with a boy without being obnoxious or annoying?
Anyone have thoughts? Alexis?
Okay.
Uh-huh. I did call on you. Yeah.
Okay.
That nightmare came true.
if you're like not involved, just like be there, like hang out with them. They'll see that you want to like be with them, and it'll be cool.
So I would say that because of the way that you worded the question, the jokes and stuff makes me feel like you're a little bit younger, and there's like those boys who are kind of going off of each other and like making inappropriate jokes, and it's hard because you like want to be a part of it, but you're also not really comfortable with that. And I would say just wait it out when you get a little bit older. Like in high school, I never really had a whole lot of guy friends, mostly because my friends were either like dating the guys that I was around or however it worked out. But in college, I have a great group of guy friends. So I think that like it has to be natural. I think if you're like going out and saying like I really need to make guy friends, if you do that with anything, if you say I really need to, get a boyfriend or whatever, when you kind of are super clear on an intention like that, I feel like sometimes it doesn't work. But yeah, Amber?
I feel like it's just, finding whatever you have in common, that's usually how you would make any type of friend. So if you both like one sport, you could just talk about that, and one conversation leads to another, and then you're just, having fun, acting like friends.
Yeah.
I think it can feel like, there's a different expectation from a guy than there is for a female that would want to know me. A guy would want me to be exactly like this. And that's not necessarily true. If you try to imagine that he's a girl and that it's really just a matter of what do you have in common, and maybe laugh at his joke if it's not like too crude. Like, I know you don't have to be funny, but sometimes guys crack jokes around girls because they want you to think they're funny. That's how they try to get your attention. So at least laugh at the jokes and kind of be present. How would a girl get your attention, Cal?
She would act pretty nice. She would be polite. She would laugh at the jokes that she would understand. Half of them she wouldn't understand, though.
Oh, is that your sense of humor?
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really just about kind of eye contact. I know that feels really vulnerable and scary, but even just look at a guy. If a guy says something funny, you can just touch his arm for a moment, like, oh my God, you're ridiculous. And like then there's a moment, and the next thing you know, you create a friendship. It's not that different from girls. It's just that whole romantic tension makes it feel like it's a lot different. Any other tips or tricks? How to talk to boys? Who wants to read a question? Amber?
All right.
The next one, please.
Cool. There are two guys who I like. One is another city 200 miles away. The other boy is at my school. I know the boy in the other city likes me, and I'm still only at a classmate relationship stage with the boy at school. So obviously the one in another city would be easier to get into a relationship with. However, I really don't want to do long distance. On the other hand, no guys at my school tend to like me. So what do I do? who do I choose?
Like, who are you more comfortable with, I would say? Because do you see the guy that's 200 miles away often? Or
Let's assume she never has seen him, because that's what a lot of this online dating stuff is, right, Jilly?
yeah.
Yeah, well, I've said it before and I'll say it again. As far as like the online relationships go, you have to be really careful, because I feel like if you're not with that person, if you're not seeing that person, then it's more like a friendship. So you have to be careful with like calling, you know, like relationships online, like real relationships. I think that you also don't have to choose one and be with one. You know, it's not an all or nothing type thing. Like, you don't always have to be with someone. You don't always have to like someone. So I feel like you don't really have to choose anyone right now. That's just my personal opinion. Just like see how it goes.
Joshua?
Oh, so how I think that, like, I agree with Julie. You don't really have to choose anybody, and if you're gonna make a choice because it's not based on your circumstances. I think you said it's an easier to get in a relationship with the person that's 200 miles away. I would actually say it's the opposite. It's a long distance relationship, and that's going to be anything but easy. It's difficult to be in one, and you have to be like, you have to know that there's certain things you won't be able to do with each other, and they'll have to have a separate life outside of you as well, because you're not going to be able to be there the entire time, and they'll have girls that are friends with them that are going to be hanging out with them that you can't get clingy over, or all of that. And then also the second aspect to it is just, I think you said, what should I do? Really start paying attention to people at your school, because right now a lot of your attention seems like it's going elsewhere, and then you wonder why people aren't liking you at your school. So I think that you need to really focus on the people that are at your school, and the online stuff is always tricky, always dangerous to just be, because you don't really know who's on the other side of the screen. So Amber.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like the online part of it. Like, you don't know who that person is really because you haven't actually like spent time with them, and online is very different than actually being in person with somebody. And also with the person at your school, it's like you should probably focus on getting to know them before you actually make a choice. And also keep in mind that you don't have to be with someone, and it's okay if no guy at your school will like you, because you're still young. I mean, still in school, so you're going to have plenty of time for guys to like you. So it's no big deal.
Doesn't it feel like it's ironically a less threatening feeling to have an online relationship and call it dating? It feels like safer than actually approaching a boy, because you made this comment like none of the boys at my school like you, and it can really feel that way in 8th grade, like it's because they've known you forever and they've already sort of like established like the coolness factor of every person, and you may not be considered cool this year or whatever, but that's so temporary. You just don't know it yet, and then here's this person online who just thinks you're the greatest, but it's actually not safer because you don't know who you're talking to. So we have to kind of like really be careful about this immediate gratification that we want and whether or not that's the wisest choice. Has anyone had an experience that they'd want to relay with like making a friend online?
I mean, I have like texted guys that I've like met once or twice at like parties, and that's obviously so much easier than like talking to a guy at school, because it's on your phone. You're not having to deal with it. You can construct the text perfectly. You can, take all the time you want to think about it, and it doesn't feel as real and as like, your heart's not racing and you're not, freaking out. But it's so never once is that actually ever, especially with my friends too, like ever come into fruition, because you just don't, there's a sense of the fact that I think you kind of know that, you might never really go on a date with this guy or whatever, because it does feel so easy. And you're like, am I really that person who's like constructing all those texts? Are they really liking that person? Who is this other guy? Like, is he, you know what I mean? Like, there's a risk factor also that you have to be aware of. Like you were saying, that you don't really know who this guy or girl is on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alexis.
And also, like, when I like talk to my guy friends, like if I don't talk to them that much, so like they sound totally different over text. They could be totally different than in person. So if, like, you haven't met this person,
For
it can
sure.
be totally different than what you expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of can create that sort of facade that of this perfect creature, like you said, framing your text like
Yeah.
completely adorably, and then like erase. No,
Or like even getting my
which
friends, like, what do
emoji?
I say? And then there's like
Yeah.
4 people crafting this text, and I'm like, this is now embarrassing.
Yeah, it's like Cyrano de Bergerac on speed. All right, who wants to read the next question? Cal.
How do you get over being shy? I just joined drama club at my school and my crush is in it. And a lot of people and a lot of other people. And I feel like I don't fit in because I'm so shy and everyone else isn't. I really want to be in drama club, but with me being shy, it's making me feel uncomfortable.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, I think you can be in drama club even if you are shy. There's always something for you to do. If you're not comfortable being on stage, they have people behind creating the sets. They have people like doing makeup, costumes. They have everything that you can do in drama club. You don't have to be the one on the stage. Even though if you want to be, you can work your way up. You can start at the very bottom and just be there and be in the environment and get yourself comfortable with it. And then over time, you'll grow into what you want. Amber?
I've always felt like drama club or drama class has always been like a really safe place because in order to be an actor, you have to be comfortable with the people that you're working with. And that means like a lot of time being spent vulnerable and all these other things that are mixed in with it. So drama club is one of the safest places to be in because everyone is just really accepting.
Yeah, and there's also that factor where just because people are outgoing does not mean that they aren't insecure. Everyone is scared, and everyone has a different way of showing it. And some people, when they're insecure or scared, they talk a lot. So it can give the shy kid the impression of like, oh, this kid has it all together, when really they're just as scared as you are. So what you can do is like compliment someone if they do a scene, like say that was really good, because everyone needs reassurance, and you can start by being the person who's providing reassurance, and that's a good way to start pulling you out of your shell. And I think it's great if you're shy to join something like debating or drama, something that forces you to like come out and challenge yourself. Like, who could I be?
Mm-hmm.
So, round of applause for this kid. Yay. See, you just got your first. I'm 16 and I just lost my virginity. About a week ago, I've only known the guy for about a week and a half. We had sex 3 times. How do I tell him I don't want to have sex anymore, at least until I know him better? There's just so much wrong with this question.
So much.
Like, Jilly, please help.
Yeah.
We need to go several weeks back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You need to tell him, like, whatever way, however bluntly you need to tell him, you need to tell him now, and you need to know that like it's your body and nobody should ever be putting pressure on you to do anything with your body that you don't feel comfortable with. Like that's step number 1, and then you can go from there. And so I think like you have to think about it. You kind of have to change the way that you think, and then you just need to tell him. Like I feel like you just kind of tell him and say like, we're not having sex anymore until I feel more comfortable, just as simply and as bluntly as that.
But from go, she shouldn't have.
Oh, absolutely.
And you get to control the speed at which that part of your relationship develops. And if you're under 18, you really shouldn't be allowing yourself to be put in that kind of risky situation, because kids really don't know enough about sex to stay safe. And that's why we advise kids to wait until they're 18 and in a loving and committed relationship. It sounds like you're not even in a loving and committed relationship.
Because then you'll feel comfortable to say, if you were in a loving, committed relationship, that other person would know, and you would probably feel more comfortable to say, hey, like, I'm not, this is like going too fast.
Right.
Josh,
Exactly.
Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I almost don't want to say anything because like you pretty much said it all. But
We're really
like
good.
on
Yeah,
the on the
we
other
got this.
aspect of it too, like I want you to also understand, even if you say something now, it may be too late for this relationship. Like
That's what I was
like
worried
once
about.
you cross a certain line, like there's not really going back in some ways. So you've already started having sex with this person, and more than likely he doesn't really see anything more. He doesn't see a relationship without that now. So you're not really going to probably be able to go back.
That's the guy's perspective. That's important, because
It's very important.
I was worried about that too.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, young ladies?
Yeah, I feel like at this point the guy will just, like, if you say like you don't want to do this anymore, I feel like the guy won't understand and he'll just disagree, and then it's kind of like you have to walk away from that.
Yeah, like exactly what like she said. Like if it was a longer term relationship and then this was happening, I think there would be more of a chance of it figuring itself out. But since it's only been a week and a half, like it's over. Sorry.
And don't let
Alexis?
him pressure you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Like
That's
make sure
really
he does not
important.
pressure you, because you don't want to get into that also.
Yeah, and just let this be a lesson for your next relationship as you enter it. That you get to talk about how quickly the physical part of things progresses. And so with this guy, you can say like, I just feel like that progressed too quickly for me. I don't feel safe, and I'm not on I'm not safe. I'm not properly protected from pregnancy, etc. And so can we? You never know. He may understand. You can, if you like him a lot, you can at least try.
Yeah, another layer that I just want to add to, like, don't make yourself wrong for losing your virginity either. Like,
Right.
it's not going to help you at all. Like, it's happened, and move forward and know that like, that's what that was, and now you can have a new experience with someone else whenever you choose to. So
Yeah, exactly. There's no way that you should ever kind of like define yourself by behaviors, because behaviors aren't who you are. They're just something that you did. And so we all make mistakes, or I don't know your age, so I don't know if I wanted 16. Yeah, I'm not going to define this as a mistake. I'm just going to define this as it may have not been the wisest, most well thought out behavior that you've engaged in, but it certainly doesn't define you. And this is something that you're going to just learn from and move forward. You're fine. And thanks for writing in, because that took a lot of maturity for you to even consider, like, do I get to say I'm not willing to continue having a sexual relationship? Yes, you do, at any time. The next question, go ahead.
I've known that I am bisexual since I was 12 years old. My family is against the LGBT community. I still live with them, but recently I started coming out. School is a great support system for me. I haven't come out to any family, but most of my friends know. How would you deal with a home situation against the LGBT community?
Well, before we get to this exact question, let me just take a temperature. Is everyone here in a school community where it's completely acceptable for people to be out?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so are there kids that who are out at school but not out at home?
Not really.
Not really?
Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah?
Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
also.
Mm-hmm. All right. I just wanted to take that, just get a feel for, that's what I thought, is that it's really, really healthy that kids don't judge each other any longer about this. But there are still households where there's some, maybe for religious reasons, there's some parents that are not comfortable. So what do you guys advise?
yeah, I would just say make sure that the situation's safe for you to tell your parents, because it could really turn out bad for you in some ways. If they're extremely against, they could kick you out. There's a lot of things that could happen, and it's really up to you to gauge how you think your parents respond, and they may not respond that way even if you think they will. And then on the other side of that, you could also use the situation of getting used to the people who aren't okay with that kind of community. And so because in life you're just going to always come against people that are against certain things with the LGBTQ community, and you build your resilience through your family and know that they still love you and support you just for who you are, and just because you're in that community doesn't define you. So
Any other thoughts?
Well, I've known some of my other friends, they were in the LGBT community, and they were totally fine with people at school, and everyone was fine with it. But some of them didn't tell their parents until later when they felt comfortable, when they knew it would be a good time. So just wait for that time, I would guess.
Right. I sometimes advise that you wait until you're sleeping in another bed under another roof that night, because you want to be able to kind of walk out of the house or drive away and not be left in the situation where there's that heaviness about it. So, and I know a lot of LGBT kids feel like they're lying every day that they don't tell their parents. And it's really not a lie. It's just your truth, and you can reveal it when you choose to. And if you hear a lot of negative words coming from your parents regarding LGBT people, then it may be a better idea if you wait until you're in college or away from home. And it's really none of their business until you feel like it's safe and warm and welcoming to tell them. Cal?
Oh, wait. Wait. Is this still about the bisexual thing?
Yes, if you choose to. Before we move on to the next question,
Well,
if you have a thought. Yes.
If you feel comfortable about telling your parents, then you should. If you don't, then maybe you should wait a while before they stop being against it.
Is there something you can say to parents that maybe don't feel about it the way you do?
Maybe you should be a little more giving and realize what they want to do and what they think that they are.
And not expect them to change overnight?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that's good advice. Who hasn't read yet? Josh?
So KatieCat36 says, I'm in love with my best friend, but I turned him down because I'm a mess and I didn't want to bring him into it. But now he has a girlfriend and he's always talking about her and it's killing me. What do I do? Should I tell him? I'll answer again. So it's like, one, accept that that's what you did and these are the outcomes of your actions. And two, no, don't tell him because you're just going to ruin the friendship and ruin the relationship and he's going to blame you. So
100%. Completely agree. Do not get in the middle of this right now. If you're already kind of a mess or whatever you're saying, you need to just like let it be. And if he's single again and you're single again and it's the right time, then like you can bring it up again. But right now, like he's in a relationship. You can't do anything. You just kind of have to try and like put it on the back burner.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you don't know what you have until you let it go. Right?
Yeah.
It really does work sometimes. If you're using someone to make someone else jealous, it's like it's sad that we don't realize the value of something until someone else has what we could have had. I don't even know what makes that happen. But it's the same as like being told sail by before midnight tonight. Like, oh, it's getting away. But yeah. Anyone have any experiences that they would like to share that are similar?
I just have something to add.
Yeah.
So if the person's like really your best friend, and seems to be really into this girl, I feel like you should support him in the relationship. And like you were the one that turned him down, and so that's what you did, and you have to accept that and then support your best friend for the choices that they make.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I want to add to that too. Like in your question, you said I'm a mess and I didn't want to bring him into it. Don't bring him into it now because you're still a hot mess. Like it sounds like it. So
wow, Josh, you're being really mean this week.
I don't know. It's whatever.
Oh my gosh.
It's the new hair.
Yeah.
The new hair is very strict and abrupt.
It's not warm like you think it is.
It's like the Dr. Laura of hair. You're like,
I love
no.
Dr. Laura.
Why did you even call?
If I can meet her anyway, please.
I love Dr. Laura.
I listen to her on radio.
Well, I'm sure she would like your hair because her studio is pink. It's true.
How do you know?
Because
I met Dr. Laura.
Mm-hmm. She worked for my radio network.
Oh my god.
She has dogs and she always
Yeah.
I like
Trish,
to
you were
think-
signaling me, and I don't know what you meant. Oh, so hold on to them. Do you want to rotate the panel? That's right. All right, we are back with Journals Out Loud. Would you like to meet our next round of panelists? Please introduce yourselves, starting with you.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Vanessa.
Hi, Josh again.
And hello, my name is Lexi.
Hi, Lexi.
I'm still here too.
Hold the mics
Julie.
close.
So
Hold the
get real
mics close.
Real close to the mics, like uncomfortably close. All
Don't have a-
right, Elizabeth, would you read the question from
Okay.
first question on the second page? Thank you.
I started a new school. I have a new group of friends, but I don't like them. They're super weird. I'm miserable with them. I have the potential to make new friends. I already know who I would rather hang with. But I have every class with my current friends, and they sit with me at lunch. A few people have pointed out I'm hanging out with weird kids. I realize it and I agree. How can I distance myself from them? What could I do and say?
Any thoughts? She wants to ditch her weird friends. Oh, Josh.
Oh, you already know I was gonna be.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm so blunt tonight. Basically, like, I mean, you're weird friends. What does that even mean? Like, so you're gonna ditch some probably really cool people just to go be with the cool people? I don't really think that you should have friends right now. So I mean,
Wow,
It
Josh.
really is there.
You just gave her a timeout.
I know. I
from
really
friendship.
that's the thing. Like, if you can't be with another person just for who they are,
Trust,
and you're
Mike.
trying to look at the surface and trying to be beyond what just being with them as a person, then like you need to take a reflection of who you're being, because they're only loving you and being friends to you, and you're sitting behind their backs and saying that you need new friends. Like,
Right, but maybe she should find her own friend level, and that's not mean. It's just the way she put it was kind of mean. Elizabeth?
Well, I would have to say it just seems odd that you're calling these people who are your friends, who obviously sit and have lunch with you, weird. And maybe if you do think that about them, you're not forcing out with them, but maybe I'm kind of with Josh on this one. Just don't hang out with them. It's not fair to them, mostly, that you think this about them. So even if you have class with them, just be honest and upfront with them, and don't waste anybody's time, I would
Julie?
say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, but the only thing is we're assuming that weird is like the equivalent to like not popular, that she or he thinks that like there's a better deal, a better outcome. And it could just be that like she doesn't, or I'm assuming it's a girl, I don't know why, because I'm relating it to myself probably, that they just don't connect with this group. So although that the question is worded in a way that is not very nice, I would say there's nothing wrong with sitting with somebody else at lunch and kind of going to the people that you feel that you connect with most, as long as that's the real reason that you're saying that they're weird, or that, you know, I don't know, that you don't want to be with them, is because you just don't connect to them. And I do agree that like they deserve better than you, if that's what's happening here too.
I think that they should stay with whoever they're with, because they've been friends for a long time, and I just think it's
No, it's a new school.
a new school.
Yeah, so you know how to, like on your first day, you might be with the kids that maybe aren't the best fit for you, kind of thing? I mean, I still hear what you're saying.
yeah, I mean, that's just natural. Like, you're going to end up being with the kids that don't necessarily get along with everybody, especially since they don't know who you are. So yeah, you do have potential as being friend, but that also doesn't mean outcast them just because they're the ones accepting you right now. Like, really look at the situation. You're new to a school and they're accepting you for you being there, and you're basically telling them like behind their backs that they're not good enough for you. So that's why I'm like, you don't really, like, right now you should take time to be with yourself. Lexi?
Yes. So, taken from experience, I have been the new kid, and what I've always done, how do I explain this? I've never been like one of the really popular kids. Like, so if you don't really have to call them like weird, because they're not like, yeah, they couldn't be popular, but they don't have to be called weird. They just have like different personalities. I mean, they're obviously really good people if they're sticking by your side, and you don't want to abandon people like that. I mean, you're the new kid. They're the first people that went to you. That kind of says something.
Yes, exactly.
I don't like. I was never a popular kid. I always hung out with my group of friends. They're not popular. They don't wear all the cool clothes that everybody wears. Like, we do what we want, and we weren't like accepted. Everyone like outcasted us because we weren't like they were. We decided not to be basic like they all were, and we all decided to be ourselves. And I love the group of friends that I have, and I wouldn't trade them because they understand me, and I wouldn't trade it for the popular people.
Yeah, but you found your people. See, I feel like I don't like the way that she's talking to popular people who are saying, why do you hang out with those people? And she's like agreeing rather than saying, no, they're cool. I mean, because you could say, no, they're cool, and still decide that they're not your people. Like, you don't have to be dismissive and say that the reason you can't hang with them is because they're weird. You can simply say they're not my thing, because you get to find your people. But I think she's destined to go with the cool kids no matter what we say. But she needs to do it in a way that's kind and that gives them props for being their own selves. Because there's no weird people. There's just mean people who call people weird.
Yeah, like, well, you said I think she's destined to go with the cool kids. Like, either way, like for me, when I moved schools, it was like I hung out with all the cool people at my school before I moved, and then when
Well,
I
I mean,
moved,
look at your hair. So, yeah.
and then when I moved, I was like the one that nobody really related to, and then I never ended up getting back into the cool circle. Now looking back at it, it was like everybody knew who I was. I never considered myself cool. So it actually was fortunate for me, because I feel like I would be a very different person if I had been in that environment in which I stayed with that cool group, because the cool group kind of develops itself in a certain way as they go through high school.
Yeah.
And then
that's a
I
good
got
point.
I got outcasted because I went to a new school, which is actually like the best thing that happened to me. So I just take your situation like for what's in front of you, not what it could be. Like if you end up being with the cool people, then you end up being with the cool people. But no, that's not anything, like that doesn't mean anything other than you're just hanging out with some really cool people. Like they're not better than anyone else at the school. So
Yeah, that's exactly right. Try not to look at it as a hierarchy. Try and look at it as like just like the right fit for you.
yeah.
Okay, who would like to read? What do you mean by introduction? Names. Oh, could you say your names, please?
We already did that, didn't we?
Elizabeth.
Yeah, I'm having deja vu.
I'm Vanessa.
Josh again.
Hi, I'm Lexi.
Julie, still here.
Lexi.
Yeah.
Lexi, would you read the question from the Hunger Games, please?
Of course. So this is from the Hunger Games. Ooh, you guys are digging that.
Nice.
Aha. I feel you, Hunger Games. All right, so this is from the Hunger Games 56. Do you know of any ways of preventing panic attacks? I get pretty bad panic attacks, but I'm scared to tell my parents because they'll get super concerned and I don't want to see them upset.
I would say try your best, like your absolute best, to surround yourself with positive people that can further prevent your panic attacks. Because if you're in a nice community where you have a good family, good friends, they should always make you feel loved and happy, so you won't need those panic attacks. But if you're with more negative people, they can push you towards the edge.
Yeah, I mean, there's also certain like techniques too. Like for me, when I notice like my heart's like racing, I start like beating on the table, like, and your heart rate will match whatever rate you're beating. And also something I've noticed recently too is like, because I have a couple friends that have panic attacks that I kind of have been helping them work through. Panic attacks happen mostly in your head. So when you start relating to outside of your head, it will start to go away. So what I've really coached them on during their panic attacks is like, look at a desk and be like, okay, that's a desk, that's a tree. Like really focus on what's around you other than what's going on in your head. Because when you start relating to what's in your head, it's just going to spiral and spiral and spiral, and then you'll freak yourself out even more. And as far as your parents, like they're going to be concerned. They're your parents. So don't worry about upsetting them. They actually may be able to get you help and figure this out. Julie.
Yeah, I'm just going to add on and say if you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents, talk to a counselor at school or an adult, because if you think that these are serious and they keep happening, like it's great to just check in with somebody who would know if it's a serious problem or if you need some help. So a cool aunt, cousin, uncle, older friend, school counselor, all of the above, I would say just kind of check in and explain what's going on. Yeah.
So I would say just breathe in and out and just calm yourself down, because I know sometimes they get triggered by like stress or you're going through like something. You just gotta kind of calm yourself down. You don't want to stress too much. That's just gonna trigger it. Like I just said that again. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I think panic attacks are a medical condition, and there's certainly no shame attached to it. I think your parents would want to know. You may have inherited it from them. They may have some really good tips. I have a friend who said that he calls a number of like a store that he knows is not open on another coast, and he just listens to the phone ringing. Like, you have to just kind of ground yourself and center yourself and know that it's kind of an irrational fear, but it definitely is real when you're experiencing it. And so the reason they have a name is that they're common enough to have a name. So you should let people help you, because there's a lot of help out there available to you.
And
Yes, Lisbeth.
as far as telling your parents will be more worried if they feel like you're hiding something from them, because it's a big thing to hide. And they're going to be more worried if they get a call from someone saying your child had a panic attack and it was really bad this time and they didn't even know what was going on. So tell them, they'll be more likely to know what to do. Parents, that's what they do. That's what they're supposed to do. They're not going to get mad. They're not going to let you see like that they're upset. So just tell them, and sometimes even just talking about it will just lift that off of your shoulders if that's what you're worried about as well.
Yeah, and adding on to what she said, like your parents are, whether you like it or not, the biggest support system in your life until you're 18. and well, even after 18 too, but just like they're the ones up until 18, and for you not to tell them, it's actually it's going to be in your favor if you do share with them, because they're going to see that you're open with them and sharing with them about a lot of things, and having that open relationship now is better so you can communicate about more difficult things down the line. Like this, while it seems very difficult to you, it's also, like Louis said, it's very common, and it happens to a lot of people, and no, you're not alone. And also, like, they're here to help you. So
Right. And usually when people write and say, I don't want to tell my parents, it's for some reason that the parents may be challenging.
yeah.
So it could be that you have challenging parents, in which case go tell school counselor. And
Yeah, or
just-
some adult.
it's a fairly common situation, and there's help out there for it. All right. The next question is, I really like this girl, and I want to tell her through a text because we don't get any alone time. What is the most romantic way to tell a girl that you like her through a text?
Just straight out tell her. Personally, I hate when people beat around the bush. Like, I don't need this extra information. Just tell me what you're trying to say. I don't have time. Just tell me.
So what would that be? I like you?
Yeah, or like, I really like you. I have feelings for you. Just
She's blunt like me.
Should there be an emoji that goes with that?
no. Emojis are ugly. Don't. No.
Really?
Wow.
I kind of have to disagree with that. No, emojis are the
feel like
best
that's
thing ever.
An unpopular
Emoji
opinion.
can tell you something.
So can like a semicolon and some smile and like a.
But it's so sideways. You
What
have to
is-
tip the phone
yeah.
or tip your head or
No, I don't, because you know what they mean.
I love an emoji.
who's ever told someone via text that they like them? You have. And what
Yes.
was your choice of wording?
This is a long time ago,
Mhm.
but I said something about I've known you for a little while, and I've had a crush on you for a little bit, and I asked how do you feel, and then the person responded back saying, "Yeah, you're cool. I like you, but in a friend way."
Friend
I got friend zoned.
That's
Yeah, I think every person I've ever like been with, I've said over text actually.
Really?
Like 'cause
Really?
it's like always been like this back and forth, like is it not, is it not, and then like all of a sudden I say like something that's just like no point of return, they know I like them. So it's like, and then I send it, and then I'm like, no, like I'm freaking out, like on the other side. Like, so it's interesting. Like I actually just be blunt, because like I beat around the bush even though I'm blunt in other areas of my life, not in that area.
Yeah, that
Wow.
I feel like we all have like a personality and then a romantic personality, and they're
Yeah.
not the same.
for sure.
Go ahead.
I think before you go and say, "Oh, I like you," I think you should get to know the person a little bit more, because if you're planning on having like a relationship with them, you should get to know them so you know what they like, so you don't accidentally make them mad later down in the relationship when you could like break up because one of you said something that the other wouldn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So we're just saying, just say it. Mm-hmm. How? Oh, my favorite is questions that are phrased like a Google search. How to overcome insecurities about the way I look. Go.
I struggled with this for a really long time because I was so convinced that I was like this mutant freak that was ugly and disgusting and no one wanted to be around. But then like as I got older, I realized, oh, no one really cares about the way I look. I like the way I look now. And I just think it came from my brain thinking it for myself. And then having my friends around me like positively influencing me, it really helped.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest advice I can give is like you're going to be your own worst critic. And that doesn't mean there isn't some very nasty people out in the world either. But at the same time, like what's ever going on in your head about your insecurities, it's only going on in your head. So again, kind of like the anxiety question, like relate to what's outside of you and what other people are saying, because really you get to only be you through what other people believe of you. So like if let's say like you think I'm the B word and I say, hey, like you're just like, no, that's not me.
Shaking her head, she's like,
But like I say, hey, and no matter what I say, I show up as a bleep. And
Right.
like, it's not going to matter. Like, what's going on in my head, like I'm the nicest person, what is that, like that doesn't matter. So relate to what other people think of you. Yeah.
Well, I also think you can focus on making other people feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And that takes your focus off of yourself, because, you know, there is a lot of attention on looks, and you could blame the media, but we create humans create the media. So it is this weird thing that exists. We can't just pretend it doesn't exist, but none of our friends are our friends because of the way they look.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And also, don't take so much influence from like magazines and articles and social media, because the majority of that isn't real. It's all photoshopped and filtered, so they look perfect. Like magazine covers and magazine articles, I never look at them because I have no interest for them, for one, and two, I know they're going to make me feel bad about myself, so I tend to stay away from anything that could possibly make me feel bad.
Mm-hmm.
First, own who you are. I'm going to say exactly what almost you just said. If you look at a magazine or some kind of platform social media, I'm going to say they're sort of fake, because they're obviously not fake because they're a human being, but it's a lot of Photoshop, a lot of makeup, a lot of time and hours, lighting, camera angles. But then when you look at yourself, you're just you're pure and you're beautiful. So don't try to stoop to their level, because you are beautiful just the way you are. You do not need to change who you are.
Yeah, and like going off what she said about the fake like social media, like even my social media, like I have a certain like presence that I keep out there. That doesn't say, I mean, that's, I have like 600 photos before I get one that's okay on Instagram. So it's like my camera roll is just picture, and then like I post the one that's like the best out of all of those. So it was 1 out of 600. Like even I'm not perfect, so it's just like what?
Oh my God!
So it's just like,
Josh, you have pink hair and a furry vest.
Don't relate to like what you see in the media, and I know that's kind of weird coming from people that are in the media, but like it's kind of relate to more of what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And most oftentimes, people are too busy focusing on their own insecurities to actually notice yours.
Oh, yes.
So true.
I'm over here. My hair.
They are, and that's why like, you know, if you want a friend, be a friend. So tell your friend, oh, you look so pretty, or you look pretty when you smile. Like it's something about their looks and their personality, not just their looks. And then you'll notice that, oh, I feel prettier because I've been not giving it away, but like acknowledging it. What were you gonna say?
No, I was also just gonna say that like you also like fake it till you make it, you know, like tell yourself that like you look good, you know, think it, believe it. Just even if you don't really, if you start thinking in that way, that like and also like make sure you're placing value on your personality and like your moral character, because like that's also very important. But I do understand that like you have insecurities about how you look, but like just try and think positively and say like what you think, you know, looks great about you today. Because I think like if you kind of change the way that you think, you know, confidence is so attractive from other people. Like if you, the way that a guy, I won't, like I'll see a picture of him, I won't think he's that cute. And then like I'll see him at a party or whatever. I'm like, he walks in this way that like he demands, you know, he knows, or somebody's giving him that kind of validation. So like if you kind of fake it till you make it, you might start to change the way you think.
Elizabeth, yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I just think that you just should focus on the things that make you the person that you are. Those who matter don't mind. Those who mind don't matter.
That
you know,
saying.
it's so cheesy, but it's so true. Because you draw out more to your insecurities if you're just focusing on that, and then you just bring this negative energy. And you're so much better than that. You're such a good person. Like you probably have so many like friends and good aspects about you if you just focus on those and just maybe laugh about your insecurities. Or if like I have a big forehead, I'll always put my hair in a ponytail. Like I don't care. Like if I tell people like, ugh, I hate this about myself, like that's all they're gonna look at. So if you just focus on the positive aspects, they're gonna be like, I didn't even notice, or like, who cares if you have that? Who cares if this, like, I have this too, like mine is worse than yours, so like it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I really like the fake it till you make it thing, because like it really, because the reason why that works is because it creates an environment around you that you're starting to engage in a conversation other than the insecurities. So you have that like, oh, okay, I am beautiful, I am this. And then even if you don't believe it, you start taking actions to be that, because you're committing to something that you're not currently being. And so you have to be that, or you're not going to be that. So you have a choice now. So instead of just focusing on the insecurities, you have a choice to be something else. And that's why the fake it till you make it does work. And it may take longer because you're going to fight. Some part of you wants to still have the insecurities. So you'll fight, but it will eventually pan out.
Yeah.
Vanessa.
I also like this. What it really helps me. I give myself like little compliments. Like earlier today, I was like, "Oh my God, my skin looks so bad. Like it's not a good day for my skin." But then I was like, "Oh, hey, eyebrow. This eyebrow looks pretty good today. We're good."
I love that.
Well, okay, one thing that seems to work with a lot of friends I know is when you compliment someone else, that just makes your entire like day like sprout.
Yeah,
and
it just radiates.
yeah,
It makes everyone happy.
I love that.
It's like planting seeds of goodness.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
All right, here's a question from the app. And if you don't have the app, it is Journals Network in the iTunes App Store, and it's free. So join our community. This question says, I am a 17-year-old girl, and my boyfriend is 22. Do you see it as a big difference? For some reason, I'm kind of scared to tell my parents his age. I feel like they're old-fashioned, so they're not going to like that. Does this have anything to do with old or new-fashioned? Vanessa?
You aren't even legal yet. What?
I
I'm
was
like,
literally just going to say that.
That's so like.
Oh, those old-fashioned laws.
Yeah, like forget about the fact that it's illegal.
Yeah. But yeah.
I mean, I've said this before, but I firmly believe it. I say it to my friends, like where you are at 17 and where you are, is it 22?
22.
Is so
I
different.
was
Like
just
you're
gonna say
dealing
that.
with such
Yes.
different things. And that's why like age differences when you're older are a little bit less significant because you are a little bit more at the same stages in life. So although like that's 5 years, 45 might not be as significant as you are when you're 17 and 22. Like you're in high school, you're like graduating college, like it's totally different. Did you want to?
Yeah, just the fact that it may be like a new fashion, old fashioned thing, but just the fact that you're maybe afraid to tell your parents is you telling yourself that there maybe is something wrong with
Yeah.
this. It's not just you being a teenager and not wanting to share something with your parents, wanting to have secrets, whatever. Like you obviously have thought out about this, that maybe it's not okay. And I totally agree that 17 and 22, like I don't even remember who I was at 17, and you're just in completely different places in life.
And
That-
he
yeah.
may be totally sweet,
Mhm.
but he's going to have to wait until you turn 18. Let's see how sweet he is.
Yeah.
No? Josh?
No, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people are can be emotionally kind of similar, and it can maybe feel like, well, because I know like a lot of 22-year-olds are like really young, and you at 17, you probably look the way you're going to look for a while. But still, like, say to him, like, before this can become a legit thing, like, I have to turn 18 because, you know.
It's a law.
Yeah, it's the law. All right, so this one says, so today my mom just said, no kissing your boyfriend. Well, I already have 3 times. I don't know if this is a crying face or a laughing face, but there's tears coming out of the eyes of the little emoji. So now what? Do I stop kissing him? I understand she's trying to prevent this from going too far, but I feel like I'm in control and have standards for myself. I would never let anything go further than a kiss in these circumstances. We're 16 years old, so it's not like we're little kids anymore either. I feel like this is a really good question, but I'm going to let you guys talk first, although I do have very strong opinions. Josh, I'm sure you have strong opinions.
I mean, I'm kind of conflicted, like in my own head right now. It's just part of me saying that, yes, you have the potential to have a strong will and not go any further. However, you said 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
16.
mean, not so
You can
much
drive at
probably.
16.
You can. I think that you'll probably be likely to be pressured into something that you
Just from kissing
she
at 16? Yes.
yes, only because the other person's probably not just looking for just kissing.
Right, but don't
So-
16-year-olds who are in a relationship kiss?
They do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that it is potentially going to lead to something else, and I don't necessarily know if she's fully being honest about the fact of having a strong moral guideline compass, as she's saying. Not many teens do. So
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Julie.
I mean, I don't like at 16. I feel like if you can drive, like you have responsibilities, I think that like maybe just talk to your mom and say like, listen, because she probably knows that something's up. That's probably why she said something. So maybe just have a conversation and like let her know where you're at. Because I think at 16, like kissing your boyfriend is not when I read the question or when you were reading the question, I thought it was way younger. So to be 16 and be in a relationship and not be able to like kiss your boyfriend, I think is a little unrealistic. But I do understand that like you want to prevent it going too far. So maybe just talk to your mom.
Well, I feel like maybe mom shouldn't be like giving these ultimatums. Instead, she'd be saying,
Right.
you know, like, you're in a relationship, let's talk about it, because
Right.
you know, you could just look at your mom and go like, that ship has sailed. So now what do you want to talk about? Go ahead.
Like, I also think it depends on the other person, because if whoever asks the question, if they're strong-willed and they'll be able to say no, and the other person can say no, then I think it'd be totally fine. But if the other person is pushing for it, for something else than just a kiss, it can go south, and you should have listened to your mom.
Well, I think, too, the other aspect is, like, I think some parents don't understand is when they start making things off limit, that's when they start getting a little bit more.
For sure.
They start getting a little bit, I want to do that. So this person's already kissing when they've been told that they're not supposed to, and the next level is obviously just doing more in the relationship. Even if they don't want to, I feel like they're going to do something they regret just because their parents are saying that don't kiss. Like,
All right, so wait, let me understand something. So you're saying, Josh, that 16-year-olds can be in a relationship and not kissing. Like, that's an option?
that is completely an option too, but I mean, I think it's natural for it to happen, and some people don't. Like, I didn't have my first kiss till I was like 18, so like it doesn't.
But you were in relationships before then?
Yeah.
So what did you do? Did you hug or hold hands?
Hold hands, talk, like just be kids. Like so kissing happens naturally whenever it's gonna happen, and I don't think there should be limitations on it. So yeah.
All right. So I'm learning, because I just thought 16-year-olds who were dating were kissing, and that you can kiss without it going beyond that. If you have a conversation, you know, that says, this is where we stop doing stuff because we're just kids. Yes.
I mean, there's kids my age are like 14 and 13 and even younger that like have boyfriends and think they're in a serious relationship and say like, I love you after like 2 hours of being together, and then they'll just push for more and more and more. And I've seen it happen single-handedly, and it's so shocking. Like, you're so young, you have so many years ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
Take time to be a kid, because it doesn't last forever.
Well, I mean, I think you could have an opportunity here to talk to your mom about what's going on, but so don't freak out that she said no kissing and you've already kissed. Go ahead and tell her, well, we have, because she really just wants to talk to you about your relationship, and she wants to hear you say, I know where the boundaries are and I know how to stay safe, because that's what parents worry about. They just worry that you're not safe and that, you know, he may talk you into something that you're not ready to do. So it's okay to tell her that you've already kissed. I don't think she's going to be that surprised, honestly. This question says, hey, I liked a couple of girls in my school and asked them out, but they all said no, and I'm a nice person and I am super goofy, random, and weird. I don't know if it's just me or if it's girls just don't like me. Josh?
I mean, it's not you. Well, to them it's you, but it's not you, and it's not all girls. So don't generalize that either. It's the 3 that you've approached, and there's how many other girls on the planet. So don't lose hope, and know that someone out there will like you for you.
Like, don't rush to find someone so soon. Like I said before, there's years ahead of you, and you will find that special person. And then if you decide that later on you want to be by yourself, that's fine. Or if you want to be in a relationship and get married, that's fine too. It's whatever. Just don't rush things too quickly.
Doesn't it sound like since he asked 3 girls in a row that he's just basically trying to cast the role of girlfriend?
Yeah.
And it almost doesn't even matter who it is.
Mhm.
It's like, slow down. Like, someone just heard that description and went, oh, I love that boy. Like, the way you describe yourself, you know yourself really well. You're going to find a girl who thinks that's just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if you are in high school and you're just asking out these girls, I feel like that's a little overwhelming for girls. They're just maybe weirded out by it. And you are asking 3 in a row, and just like you said, you know, it's just like one after another, just asking them just to ask them. But just build friendships with girls. Just be yourself, but just build friendships, talk to people. Just don't put that pressure on the girl, and don't put the pressure on yourself to be in this relationship. Just ask girls out, or just to have a girlfriend.
Yeah, and especially in high school, like, I think actually you might be hurting your cause, because if it's 3 in a row, word will start spreading that you're just asking. Like, so then even the other girls that may have been interested in you before are not going to be now, because they think that you're just trying to fill the role, like you said earlier, and that's not what they want to do either. They don't want to just fill some role that you're looking to fill in your life. They want to actually be special, be in a relationship, be there for somebody. So it's just like, slow down. Know that this is just 3 people, and maybe it have been consecutively, but that's also because you approached them consecutively.
Yeah.
And just live life.
Yeah,
So-
it's gonna happen. You're gonna date. Sometimes you can be in too big of a rush to make everything happen at once. This question says, I have nightmares about my boyfriend. My fear is that he's gonna leave me, but I know he loves me. There's like so much that she's not saying.
Yeah.
Also, Aaron, look who it's from. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cupcake.
yes,
Ha.
she should leave. He should leave her.
Leave.
It's a really dysfunctional relationship that we know about. But like, let's pretend it's just a question from a person. You have to ask yourself, why do I have these fears? What are you really afraid of? Because I mean, I feel like that's just like saying, I fear abandonment, and therefore I'm just gonna, in everything in my life, like maybe in your childhood, like, was there abandonment that happened? Is that rational for you because of your experiences? Because your experiences in your childhood, they don't necessarily dictate what's going to happen in your life unless you project that into it. Like, this is what I deserve. And then you chase people away and like, see, everyone leaves me. So you have to really think about what happened and like what you can do to shift, like take your boat and get it into a better keel so that you have better results, Josh.
Yeah, and I think that fear of abandonment can always be present with certain things, and I also want you to get that in this situation, since I know a little bit more of the background. It's just like, don't be afraid if he leaves you, because that's actually the best thing he could do for you. And I know we keep telling you to leave him, and we keep telling you certain things, and you're just not listening.
She's in a dysfunction. She's in an unhealthy, emotionally abusive, and physically abusive relationship.
Yeah, it was the question in the audition that we read about
Yeah, I
being
got
beaten.
that
Oh,
question.
okay.
That was from her.
And she's
Yeah.
yeah, so she's obviously please just tell him to leave you.
Yeah.
Actually, so, because it's just not gonna work, and don't be afraid of it happening, because you should be afraid of other things that could happen if he stays with you.
Yeah, I mean, abandonment is only abandonment if somebody that really should matter
Yeah.
abandoned you, in which case you'll get over it because, as Josh said, there's other people. But if somebody who's hurting you leaves, they're actually doing you a big favor. Yes.
Yeah, like if someone is causing a big issue in your life and you're having so far dreams about it and you're just thinking about it constantly, you shouldn't listen to it. Like, it's too much on you, and it's going to be fun for them because they're finding joy out of this because they do it repeatedly. Just, you can't have that in your life. That's not going to be good for you.
But she's fearing the thing that she actually needs the most. So
Yeah.
what's that about, Jill?
I mean, I think that it's pretty evident that there's a unhealthy codependent or just dependent relationship.
Oh, for sure it's completely codependent.
Yeah.
Which is where you're addicted to a specific person.
Yeah.
And it's not a good thing to be.
And I think what you need to do is kind of identify what kind of you're associating with this person. So like if you're associating your happiness and your security and your well-being and you're putting that all in somebody else's hands, that's such a dangerous place to be in. Because at any moment with that person leaving, and I'm assuming that that's what these nightmares are, that the whole like carpet gets ripped out from under you. So I think that you need to try and figure out ways that you can make yourself happy and feel secure. And I think that then you can kind of get out of this.
You can rip out your
relationship.
carpet and find hardwood floors.
Boom.
Boom.
I don't think you should be in a relationship and like highly depend on them. You should be able to be yourself in a relationship with another person.
Well said. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for being with us on Journals Out Loud. I love you all. We'll see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.